Coming up in Newsnight, the St. James North branch urged to take the lead in the upcoming by-election. Prime Minister Mottley blasts the teachers sick out. And in sports, former champs Empire earned their first victory of the 2025 BCA Elite competition.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening with Newsnight. I'm Anne-Marie Burke. The St. James North branch must now take the lead in the upcoming by-election with Senator Chad Blackman as the Barbados Labour Party candidate. And Prime Minister Mia Mottley says the BLP will continue to serve the constituency as they've done for the last 12 years. Rachel Agard has that story.
There will be no arrogance, complacency, or inclination of having already won the race heading into the St. James North by-election. That was made abundantly clear by Prime Minister Mia Mottley during a special constituency branch meeting at the Gordon Greenwich Primary School last evening.
I said the same thing when we had the by-election in St. George North, when Tony took over from Glenn Clark, and I say the same thing again now. And I want you all to fall in line and to literally recognize that we don't command elections. We earn the victory of the people because we earn first and foremost their confidence. That is what I want this Barbados Labour Party constituency branch and the wider party to do.
Deputy Prime Minister Santia Bradshaw has been named as the campaign manager heading into the May 21st polling day. Former Member of Parliament Edmund Hinkson says political longevity should never come at the cost of the party's future success. He adds that it was imperative that he pass the baton while the Barbados Labour Party still holds the commanding advantage in the constituency. And Mr. Hinkson has pledged his continuous support for the St. James North constituency, which he has served for the last 12 years.
I will still be available to the people and government of Barbados. I said that in my resignation speech. I said that on Thursday in Parliament. I say that now. It isn't that I'm retiring and going and put up my shoes. I will still be available because I will always be available to contribute to the national development of this country. I will always, of course, once I have breath in my body and mental capacity, help in terms of people with disabilities, help in terms of parent education and the challenges of parenting.
BLP candidate for the constituency, Senator Chad Blackman says he stands on the shoulders of giants and intends to serve faithfully. He says the campaign will be full of life, vigor, and creativity, but he stresses it will be done with a level of humility.
It is my intention, once God gives me the strength, on May 21, you give me the vote, to ensure that you and your families and your communities have within a representative someone that will ensure that the life of you and your families are improved. Because I believe that I have to put myself before you. And service requires someone who can not just be accessible 24 hours, but who can listen to you, who can empathize with you, who can share your pain when necessary, and be there in your times of need.
Nomination day is May 6th, while election day is May 21st. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Mottley has taken some members of the Barbados Union of Teachers to task for their 2-day sick-out last week. She says their actions could derail the learning of the nation's children, especially while exams are ongoing and set to be undertaken.
Parents get nervous over their children in a way that is not sometimes even rational. And you get that. And you have to be big enough to step back and understand that and to give them enough space to accommodate that kind of concern and anxiety. So what is likely to happen when your child, less than 2 weeks before the common entrance, missed 2 critical days? What are you going to do to them this long weekend? You're going to make that child sit down. You say, come, teacher wasn't there, come, I'm going to carry you through this. But you run the risk that the parent might carry the child through something, teaching them a different way, from the teacher and confusing the child at the very time when the child needs to be able to remain focused and to stay engaged with what they know.
Prime Minister Mottley said she was disappointed as she has never known action to be taken while negotiations are still ongoing. She questioned the timing of the industrial action and stresses there must be a respect for a process.
Why I'm totally and completely befuddled is not only have discussions not broken down, but the ministry has made it clear that there are administrative issues that have to be resolved, but that we were never against restoring the terms need. Because this is the same government that is also working with the nurses. Jerome will tell you. But you can't just come, because imagine if every teacher wanted the terms leave at the same time. What will happen? Who will got to teach?
The legacy of national hero, the Right Excellent Sarah Ann Gill, was honoured with a wreath-laying ceremony at the James Street Methodist Church. Now a staple in the Methodist calendar, the national hero is recognized for her pivotal role in advancing Methodism in Barbados. The ceremony took place at the churchyard, which sits on land she provided and where her mortal remains are interred. And after the ceremony, Minister of People Empowerment and Elder Affairs Kirk Humphrey told the gathering the bravery and courage of the national hero, the Right Excellent Sarah Ann Gill, should be an inspiration to all Barbadians.
If you consider that Sarah Ann Gill was brave in the 1800s as a woman and a woman of color, I think it's important that we remember her. I think it is a good thing that the church remembers her. And I think it is kind of an inspiration for many of us as we face life challenges to always remember to do something else for somebody else. So whenever the church calls me, I make sure that I attend. I would ask Barbados to try to honor all of our national heroes who made a significant contribution to Barbados in various ways.
The minister said Barbados is facing a number of challenges of which we have no control, but the courage and work of Gill gives us hope.
I think that we're facing a number of challenges, international challenges, regional challenges and local challenges. But our heroes remind us that if we work together and we pull together, that the collective resources of the Barbadian people can overcome everything and anything. So let's just remember that we are one Barbadian people and that together we will rise.
Pastor Jason Clark said the national hero was not intimidated by threats of physical harm and educated the slaves.
She successfully challenged the powerful, self-serving defenders of slavery, of the very parliament of the country, extending religion and education to the enslaved and advancing the process of emancipation. One recalls that in her day, the law books carried legislation that deemed education of the enslaved as illegal.
Now coming up, the Barbados Workers Union reviews what the pressure of representation feels like. The leadership of the Barbados Workers Union was in church today as they prepare for Thursday's May Day celebrations. And while the public often sees the BW as a tough bargaining agent standing up for the labor rights of its membership, a little-known fact was revealed. General Secretary Tony Moore told the congregation that they often feel the tremendous weight of responsibility. She was speaking during the union's May Day Thanksgiving service at the Christchurch Parish Church. She said the weight can sometimes be immense, with the pressure to be the best for their members. However, she said the success stories made the effort worthwhile.
It's hard to dance with the devil on your back because in the Barbados Workers Union, we feel that often. An organization that commits itself to the well-being, improving the well-being of people, not only as it relates to bread and butter issues, but as it relates to the whole person and his or her family. Yet we feel so often that no matter what you do, it's simply never enough. But then there are those who come through, our members, or those whose lives we've touched, who come through with testimonies and remind us that our mission is far from over.
Barbadians were taken on a journey of yesteryear and the tunes that rocked at least two previous generations. This as the Legends of Reggae, the first night of the highly anticipated Reggae Weekend, got underway at the National Botanical Gardens. Rachel Agard attended and filed this report.
A stellar local cast opened the night at the Legends of Reggae Showcase on the first night of Reggae Weekend. Wendy Allen, Mike Grosvenor, and Desmond Weeks thrilled the crowd with tunes such as Stand By Love, Get Up, Midnight Blue, and Drink Milk. And Miss Allen has urged the young women to have more respect for themselves.
Keep giving thanks to the Most High and try to live as upful and right as possible, right? And that's how I live my life. So I think that's why God preserved the voice, the gift that He gave unto me.
Jamaican artist Colleen Davis told a story of resilience with her deliveries of Dial My Number, Stealing Love, and It Must Be Love. Describing herself as a walking miracle, having survived cancer, she underscores the support system she has in her husband, Tommy Cohen, and children.
I have a great team around me, starting with my husband, who really looks out for me, makes sure that all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And I take his advice. I trust his judgment. And of course, here comes my son, who is standing with me now, and my daughter, Naomi Cowan, who I respect their views and I value their encouragement. For me, as the younger generation, you know, they have their hands on the pulse of a lot of the technology and stuff, so they make sure that I'm covered.
With classic hits like Rise and Shine, One of These Days, and If Loving You Is Wrong, Jamaican Glenn Washington delivered a performance that will linger on the minds for years to come. He tells CBC News his kind of music remains timeless and good for the soul, having started recording music in 1972. Mr. Washington says he feels good knowing people embrace the message he has to give. And he has this message for the younger artists.
Whatever you're doing as an artist, do it to the best of your ability and do it that people can derive something from it, you know, like you come with a positive message, stay on the positive all the time, can't go wrong.
Other performances for the night included Jamaicans Courtney Melody and Dwayne Wonder, with local DJs boosting the selections. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power In. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Sports time. Good evening. I'm Damien Best. Well, the Spinners did the trick to help set up an 8-wicket victory for Empire against YMPC on the final day of Series 2 in the BCA Elite Division today. Playing at Bank Hall, Captain Kamari Boys finished with 4 for 34 and Jamel Warwick 3 for 48 to bowl out YMPC for 196 in their second innings after they resumed the final day on 165 for 8. Then chasing just 78 runs for the win, Kevin Stout made 30 and Warwick 28 as Empire finished on 80 for 2 in 9.2 overs. We pick up the action on the final day. YMPC 176 for 9 in their second innings against host Empire. Jamel Warwick to Nasir Blackett targets deep mid-wicket. That's 3 runs at this venue. Warwick getting some problems wrapping up the innings. Shamar Marshall clears the wall, 4 runs. More of the good stuff. Lusty blow from Marshall. Handy indeed. 14 runs off Warwick's over before Marshall was well caught on the boundary by Kobe Williams for 32. YMPC all out for 196. Empire set a target of 78 runs for victory. Kevin Stout and Warwick opening the batting. Warwick using the long handle. 1 bounce at 3. What a turnaround. Marshall now taken to the cleaners by Warwick in the slot. The rest is history. This one to add insult on one knee. Get out of town. 4 runs. 10 without loss. At the other end, Stout happy to contribute. Works this one off the legs. He's off the mark. But the Warwick show was looking like a T20 audition. Pings it off the wall at deep square leg. Marshall into his 3rd over and Stout pulls. Pure timing, but the bounce takes the ball into the pavilion. Got to be alert. Jadan Jones into the attack. Sweet sound off the bat. Mid-off, no chance. 47 without loss at this stage. Stout reached 30 and then hit one straight into the breadbasket of Ronaldo Kelman at point. 21 more runs required for victory. 57 for 1. Warwick followed quickly after, call at long off. by Kelman. Wicket to Jamar Trotman. On his way for 28, 59 for 2. Joshua James would put the team back on track with 2 fours. The first one clears long off into someone's living room. The next one much straighter. Same result, 68 for 2. From there, Empire would cruise, wrapping up the 8-wicket victory to end on 80 for 2. Other results, Windward crushed Gladiola by 10 wickets at Rice's. Scores in that one, Windward 320 for 5 declared and 80 without loss. Gladiola 156 and 241 following on. At Friendship, Wildy registered a 9-wicket win over Yorkshire. Scores Yorkshire 174 and 37, Wildy 201 and 11 for 1. At Dells Road, ESA Field Pickwick and Wanderers played out a draw. Pickwick 287 and 227, Wanderers 223 and 197 for 5. And at Waterford, AUWI 338 for 8, BCA Youth 342 for 8. Game ending in a draw. Akeem McCollin 107 and Zachary Carter 98.
That's our news. Thank you for joining us and continue to enjoy your evening.